All right, so the final space that we have here today is our main conference room. And a lot of thought went into this space and how could we maybe use it a little bit better, not only to house our employees and customers, but also how do we keep training happening? How do we keep the education alive within the organization and consistent learning? So we made this space specifically so that we could maneuver it around and be a little bit more mobile, similar to what happens in schools.
Right.
You need to be able to have multiple areas where you can kind of break off into collaborative sort of
You got
groups.
things going on here,
Right.
here, over there.
Yeah.
in front of the
Or
board.
have a training sort of scenario where you can actually, this is all mobile, so you can put it in a classroom environment and actually teach.
That's good, and I just actually noticed that because the tables could wheel instead of have to lift them up, and you can move them where you want them.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool for different styles of learning.
Absolutely.
I guess my question is, do you have any thoughts or best ways that we could potentially help or support what you guys are doing, or how could we bridge the relationship so that the charter schools would have access to some of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, that's something that we're absolutely open for. You know, we're just getting into a stage where we're ready to start this continuous learning. You know, we've grown to a point where it just makes sense to work more hand in hand with the school systems that are out there, and not necessarily just learn ourselves, but collaborate on what's working within the space right now with education, and how do we maybe design spaces in a different way where it would actually help not just school systems, but overall education for organizations as a whole.
Right. I think maybe we could think about what would be the best way to get you in front of as many of the school leaders as possible.
Yeah.
And because with the schools, there's 14 different networks and there's 27 different schools. And so there's about 8,500 kids, a bunch of different buildings. So there could be a bunch of opportunities. Now, you know, I already kind of shared the barriers before, but
Absolutely.
I think first starting with thinking about what you offer, what you can do, how you can do it, and the value, and build the value up and let the school leaders see that. And how do we make that connection so we can get them some modernized things that they may need?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that collaboration is going to be huge moving forward for us. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and we're continuously just trying to learn ourselves. Some of what you see here is our work that we've done at others, at school systems around Rochester, where we're trying to look at their spaces and how do we better design for that learning environment.
Gotcha.
And not every place is the same. You know, some,
of course.
Right? So some have limited spaces, some have limited budgets. So how do we work with what we have to create something that'll be functional for years to come?
So interesting. Is this a classroom?
This
is
no, this is actually a calm room. A lot of mental health focus has been put into the education system.
So restorative type of,
Yeah.
and when they got in, so as high school I see.
Yeah.
So if it's a high school, it's when they got in trouble, instead of them going to in-school suspension or getting in trouble, they're telling them to do something to calm down, like reflection.
Reflection time. So there's different, this is actually one and the same, just different ways of laying out depending on the need, right? What are you trying to accomplish with this type of setup?
So do you guys ever create like flexible seating classrooms with like all different types of interesting, because a lot of the schools that I've ran or started are all boys schools. So I'm in the process of opening a school called Green Tech Rochester.
Yeah.
And so we'll need furniture and things like that,
sure,
right?
Sure.
But with that being said, sometimes with all boys, when you have flexible seating or you have other options because they can't sit still or they have other things going on, there's standing options. You know, those are
standing options, sitting
beneficial.
options for movement. There's a whole bunch of different products out there made by various different manufacturers to fit that specific need that you're talking about. And those are things that and when I said education, that's what we're trying to educate on. We're making sure that we're aware and we know what manufacturers are out there to fit the need that's within the school system.
Gotcha.